Papa Nintendo has been watching YouTube and he's delivering content creators an early Christmas present. What's going on, guys and girls? It's Zach from Switchforce. Gabe is here, and this is a real good, feel-good type of story. Nintendo just announced that they will be closing their creators program and really opening up the restrictions for YouTubers to make and monetize Nintendo content on the website. Previously, if you're not aware of how this went down, they had a very strict system of what they would allow and how they would have to review, and then how monetization or money that was earned from those videos would be split. And it was pretty much the strictest system around for quite a while.
Yeah, we're lucky that we never really had to deal with any of this, but this is fantastic news for, smaller creators and people who aren't necessarily ambassadors, because that's another thing that Nintendo had going on for a while, and it seems like all that's going to be gone now, and just play their games, enjoy them, make the content you want, and this is like something that's really cool. I see a lot of people being happy about it. Twitter and other social platforms such as Reddit, Nintendo doing the right thing for Christmas here.
Yeah, I have been surprised by how happy people have been. I guess this is one of the most wanted moves, and really probably will curry a lot of good favor for them, at least amongst our kind of our crowd, our peers. A lot of people that are content creators will now embrace, I think, Nintendo a whole lot more, because that was something I heard be spoken against them so often. It was like, hey, they don't even really want to be a part of sort of this modern era of video creation. And just to get a little bit more specific for you, they said that we are humbled every day by your loyalty and passion for Nintendo's games, characters, and worlds, and respect that you want to be able to express yourself creatively by sharing your own original videos and images using content from our games. As long as you follow some basic rules, we will not object to your use of gameplay footage and or screenshots captured from games for which Nintendo owns the copyright in the content you create for appropriate video and image sharing sites. To help guide you, prepare the following guidelines. And it's pretty easy. It basically is like, hey, as long as you commentate over the game, you're good to go. And you can monetize it and you can post it. There's a few other points here of okay, you can't state that it was sponsored by Nintendo. And if they feel like your content is unlawful or infringing, they can remove it. And again, you can't just post straight gameplay with no free use commentary, unless it's directly captured from the Switch system itself using the capture button. Then you can, but those would, of course, be super short clips. Basically, you can make Nintendo videos and commentate over them and post them. I think that's the simplest way to put this.
It is, and, honestly, people that don't do commentary and just, upload the game, they shouldn't be able to monetize it, in my opinion, because they don't really add anything to the content itself, and at that point, you're just, ripping a Nintendo property and just posting it online, and people just don't end up buying games if they can just watch the entire thing. It's different when you watch something and there's commentary along with it. This also makes note that you can use anything Nintendo puts out officially, like Treehouse stuff, trailers. They say, hey, all that stuff is fair. Go ahead and use it as long as you add something to it. And this is such a good move, and I'm happy that they finally made it.
Yeah, I think it's really great, and I know that there is a subspace of YouTube that wants and makes no commentary videos, so for them this doesn't do anything. I kind of more lean to what you said, Gabe, of to use the stuff, you should really be putting your own flair, your own spin on it. They obviously say that you can't use things that aren't officially put out by Nintendo, or I guess on the homebrew side of things, that's still not going to be allowed, as it shouldn't be. But this is super great, and I think it's coming at a really good time. It does sort of function as a post-Black Friday, a lot of really good sales, pre-Smash Brothers, pre-Christmas, pre-holiday, feel good, great move, and if nothing else, it shows that Nintendo is willing to evolve. They're willing to change. I think we've seen some really nice strides with the Switch, the presentation of the system, the release lineup, their communication. There's still plenty of things that I know people wish were different, or wish were gone about in a slightly more modern matter, but the way that they have tried this generation to improve and evolve themselves, I think, is commendable. And this one to me shows that maybe new management, maybe sort of a new approach is going to really pay off and really make decisions that aren't just feeding the nostalgia of fans, but also feeding the desires and the modern sensibility of their fan base.
Yeah, you're right. And, just because you touched on Smash Brothers a little bit, I want to just talk about, hey, people have been getting stuff taken down for Smash Brothers, but that's because they're posting stuff early. The game is nowhere near being released, so that's going to be completely separate. Nintendo's not going to go, take your stuff down once the game is out. So it's important to clarify that, because I know, some people in the comments might be like, oh, they're taking down Smash Brothers stuff, so maybe they don't want stuff up. That's only because they're trying to prevent a leak from a game that isn't out quite yet.
Yeah, and this was a long time coming. I mean, we've been around on YouTube for a long time. I've been here well beyond Switch Force, and I know you have as well, Gabe. And there were real scary moments with fair use and with games in general. There was sort of a YouTube apocalypse a few years back where everything was getting claimed, and it was uncertain of what the heck was going to go down. And a lot of companies, pulled back on that, and it was fixed. Nintendo was one that kind of kept really strict regulations, and not to their benefit. And I think it's so nice to see them kind of without saying as much, admit, hey, we this isn't good. This wasn't probably the right way to go about things, and we're gonna fix it. Is there anything that you can think of that you would like them to do next? I mean, they have an online service now for whatever that is. They've started to incorporate their vision of what Virtual Console will be for this generation. They've now nixed the creators program and are opening the doors for YouTube content for everyone to monetize. And anything next on Nintendo's make right agenda?
I think they've made great strides in improving things, and I personally failed to think of too many more things that they can make right, quote unquote. I don't know that they do a ton of wrong. I'd like to see some different type of games, but that's completely a separate issue. I do want to say this though. I'm going to be excited to see some of my favorite content creators be able to do Nintendo stuff again.
Back on the Nintendo train,
yeah. I don't want to give it any names out there, and not because being weird or anything. I just don't want to forget anyone. But there's a lot of content creators that I really enjoy that for a long time just wouldn't touch Nintendo games just because they wouldn't be able to make a living with the videos, and so much work goes into some of the content, and it's going to be really awesome to see some of that come back into the forefront here.
Absolutely. It's interesting to me that YouTube seems to have played a decent role in this. This was on Twitter when it was announced and sort of propagated out there. It was mentioned by YouTube as well, and different members of YouTube's team. So it sounds like it was a collaborative effort to make this possible. That's good as well, to see YouTube doing some things that make the site better, instead of, it seems like a lot of things they do make the site worse. And hopefully they as well can continue in the right direction. I will say, for me, it's not something they're doing wrong, but I would love to see more third-party partnerships, and I would love to see a more open approach to that Virtual Console idea, that online library, and to expand that quicker than they plan. Maybe Audible and say, okay, we're going to introduce Super Nintendo and N64 and maybe even GameCube. That would be great. The one game I'm surprised you didn't mention, and maybe it's because you don't think it'll ever happen, but do we come to a day where Nintendo says, hey, our next console is going to have graphical parity?
Nah.
That one's just too out there.
I don't think Nintendo cares about graphical parity anymore, man. I think they moved past it.
They're still at E3, so we got that going for them, unlike another company, and they seem to have a very solid lineup for 2019. I would their, I don't even know how to phrase this exactly, but sometimes I feel like the directs and sort of their planning could be a little bit more fan friendly, and instead of sometimes it feels very we're underwhelmed a lot, I think, and so maybe that's something that they could work on as well. I don't know how you concretely do that. This one's a really good one.
You want to be whelmed?
I want to be whelmed. Now that we have an online service, which I know some people say that's not a positive, you have to pay for it, but they're trying. Now that we have the creators program, next up, whelm me. So I will look to be whelmed in 2019. I'm going to be whelmed by Smash Bros. I've played a bunch of that. I know that I will be whelmed. I can't wait to get in there and grab my favorites and get into World of Light. Let us know how you feel about the Content Creators Program vanishing in December. And if you'll be taking advantage of that, whether you're a big creator, a small creator, or a first-time creator, does this open the door for you in a way that excites you and motivates you and makes you want to make Nintendo videos? We'd love to hear from some of you that are, and it's always cool to see new people pursue their passions if that's something that they're super interested in. So let us know how you feel about it, if you're going to be doing anything, if it affects you in any way, if like Gabe, you're excited to see maybe one of your favorite creators, besides Switch Force, of course, go on to make more Nintendo videos. In the meantime, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and interesting Nintendo news like this. We've got Smash Bros. Just a couple days away. I cannot believe, Gabe, that we've arrived at December and that the final big release is here, and we're going to have basically two calendars worth of Switch games, all the cartridges laid out. It's pretty crazy how time flies.
All the downloads laid out, Zach.
Yeah. laid out in my archive, since the system wants to always make me archive things that I haven't played for half a year or more. Anyways, we're going to archive this video. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic day. For myself and Gabe, Switch Force, out.